I would like to introduce our next speaker, who is Nata Zaman. Nata is the Deputy Director of Equipping for the New Hospital Programme. She's also the Secretary General for the Global Clinical Engineering Alliance. She was Head of Clinical Engineering at West Hertfordshire NHS Foundation Trust and also worked at the Royal Free. So Nata has been working with the GS1 UK healthcare team, construction team and standards team around the use of GS1 standards for the new hospital programme. Welcome, Nata.
Imagine a future where we can track every equipment, we can trace every component, and we can locate every person in our healthcare system. A future where data flows seamlessly across every stage in a hospital life cycle. I'm Nata Zaman, as George kindly mentioned, from the New Hospital Programme. And as some of you may know, New Hospital Programme is one of the most ambitious healthcare infrastructure initiatives in a generation. We are not just building hospitals. We are future-proofing infrastructure, enhancing safety, and rethinking how building, system, and people connect. Today, I want to talk to you about how traceability powered by standards can transform the way we construct, maintain, and sustain our hospitals. And to do that, we need more than just bricks. We need intelligence, transparency, and traceability built in from the very beginning. Why does traceability matter? In healthcare, it's not just about efficiency. It's about safety, accountability, and trust. Traceability means we know who did what, when, where, and why. It means if something goes wrong, we know exactly where to look. And if something goes right, we can replicate and scale it with confidence. We've made great progress, as you've heard throughout the day, in applying this thinking in clinical products from patient response to medication and surgical trace. But we have overlooked the most important and complex system of all, the hospital building itself. Think about it. Hospitals are highly complex, critical environment, just like an aircraft or nuclear facilities. Yet in construction, we still rely heavily on manual handover, disconnected databases, and missing documentation. We often don't know where components have come from, what they are made of, who installed them. That's not just inefficient, it's a risk. Especially when we consider post-occupancy maintenance, compliance with fire and building safety regulations, and managing future refurbishments. If we want a real operational continuity and we want to make smart, evidence-based decisions long after the builders have left, we need to ensure that traceability doesn't start at day one of operation, but it starts at day one of construction. And this all boils down to tracking these 3 Ps. People, who handled it, who installed it, who signed it off. Products, what was used, when, and from which batch. And places, where in the building it was installed, used, or stored. These aren't just the things we can track, these are the things we must track if we want to make safe and smart decisions. And why does this matter? Because it creates continuity in handovers, from the contractor to the state team, from the state team to the clinical team, and back to the FM providers who are going to replace that component in 10 years' time. If we embed this digital thread through the life cycle of the building, we can start to do things like run proactive maintenance schedules, automatically flag component recalls, drive real-time asset locating visibility, and more importantly, generate reliable compliance records without spending weeks manually sifting through data, whether it's PDF or paper or folders. This is what makes a smart hospital truly smart, not just in its tech, but its structure and foresight. This is where GS1 or standards come in. They provide a practical, scalable way to turn construction into a data-rich digital intelligence process. At the core of these are the 3 powerful identifiers. The GTINs, Global Trade Item Numbers, which allows us to uniquely identify every component. GLNs, Global Location Numbers, so we can tag every space, every room, every building and site in our hospitals. And RFID, which brings automation and real-time tracking into play at the lowest possible cost. These aren't just technical tools, they enable us for safer, smarter working. Let's widen the list. We have seen how GS1 and standards have drove transformation in industries like retail, aviation, and medication. In retail, every pair of jeans, I always say when I go to shops in Zara, you pick up a clothes and you dump it in the basket. It's got all the data because it's got the RFID tag in and it's got the standard. So whether I shop with Zara in UK or shop Zara in Portugal, you'll have the right data flowing across. In aviation, every part can be traceable from the moment they are designed all the way to the moment they are decommissioned. In pharmaceutical, we know which vial came from which batch, made on which day, by which person, and every batch can be traced from the lab to the patient. So why not construction? Why not bring the same rigorous transparency and traceability to the way we build our hospitals? In construction, too often critical asset data is lost during handover or never captured in the first place. This creates cost, risk, and inefficiency, and it doesn't have to be that way. Right now, construction is one of the least digitized industries in the UK. We rely heavily on paper trails, silo databases, PDF, and spreadsheets. That's not traceability, that's fragmentation. GS1 provides the digital glue to connect these dots. It allows us to make construction data portable, accessible, and trusted across times, teams, and technologies. Let's bring this to life. Imagine we are building a hospital wings. Every component, every steel frame, every wall panel, every fire door, every sink, and every tap gets a GS1 identifier. We scan it on the delivery, log it during installation, and tie it to a location using GLNs. That identifier stays with it for its life, and that data is never lost. It flows right into our facility management system, where it can be used for compliance, maintenance, repair, and planning. 10 years from now, when there's a fault in a valve or a fire damper fails inspection, we don't need a clipboard or a contractor. We scan it, check the full digital record, and take action. No paper binders, no manual lookups, just structured, searchable, actionable data. This isn't a futuristic dream. It's entirely achievable. But we can only achieve it if we embed standards now, during the design and build, and not as an afterthought. This is compliance with Building Safety Act. This is golden thread of information. And this is what the digital transformation in construction actually looks like, not in theory, but in action. GS1 is the glue that binds this system and stakeholders together. It ensures everyone, from designer and contractor to state and clinical team, are working from the same source of truth. And in an industry as high-stake as healthcare, this glue isn't just helpful, it's essential. As part of the new hospital program, we are laying the foundation to embed GS1 standards across key areas of planning and delivery. This includes designing for traceability in equipment and supply chain, developing approaches for tagging construction materials with consistent identifiers, exploring ways to digitize legacy state data, and enabling better tracking of off-site manufacturing component. This is how we build golden thread of information. And the GS1 standards is the needle which stitches that thread, reliably, consistently, and securely. So here's my invitation to all of you, from hospitals, suppliers, manufacturers, and construction. Let's design a system where our buildings are as traceable and trusted as our care pathways, and where our construction data is as robust and respected as our clinical data. Let's build the future where we never have to say we didn't know. Thank you.